Welcome to No Construction. you know, those in 100 years, if this is still here. Finally, I got one view. uh, so, nothing's changed. Far as I can tell, it's still the same commissioners in the Williamson County Commissioners Court. You know, my words have failed. So, to put it bluntly, nothing's going to change. I am I guess it's not last week, but the 6th of November 2018. I wouldn't be surprised if it was uh, granted, authorized, because it's bad for us. It's going to be authorized. If it's good for us, it's not even going to make it to the agenda. I guess Berry Creek is probably going to get a sewage pipe put through there, and they're claiming it's going to be 100% leak proof. Yeah, that may be if metal didn't eventually corrode, or if let's say metal didn't corrode, right? But it would have to be one solid pipe, and not just at the start or end of whatever path it's going to be in uh, for Berry Creek. I mean, it has to be some distance away, and that's just not going to happen. It's going to be several pipes, you know. So goodbye nature. I still don't understand. I wouldn't consider myself a tree hugger, but there does seem to be a war on nature. It really does. I mean, if it's green, this county and really the whole of the United States is, it's grass, it's trees, it's whatever. Let's pave it. And they're using any excuse under the fucking sun to do it. I mean, I don't think I need to worry about holding up my oath to the Constitution anymore. Because clearly that is done. If it doesn't exist, how can it be protected? It, it's an old piece of paper at this point. Uh, People have spoke out, say this is exactly how Castro got started. This is how really Hitler got started. I'm not saying that part is Commissioner's Court fault, but how Castro got started with let's make things free. Well, I don't know, mixed feelings about that, but as a whole, this is how Hitler got started. You can't tell a kid no anymore. That's borderline child abuse. And somebody's going to come around and gather those kids up. Not kidnapping. It'll steal their hearts and minds and then control them to start whatever the goal is. Only they and God know. And I think Williamson County is close to the tipping point of ending up like California 30 years ago. And now, of course, no one's watching this now, but currently, California has a quarter of the world's homeless. All right? And we're headed that same direction. It's not foreseeing the future, not guessing or prophesying, or anything like that. There was evidence. We are not a snowflake. We're following the exact same footsteps, which will result in the exact same result. You know, I mean, I offered a way out of this, viable ways, not, you know. It's not like, oh, let's go to space. If we go to space, things will be different. With no way to get to space whatsoever. I have the knowledge of how to get to space. Of course, this is a metaphor. You know, space being where Williamson County doesn't have to rely on taxpayers to get the funding they need. It'll be funding separate from taxpayers. Therefore, we could lower taxes. People won't be tossed to the damn street. You know, people that are making 150 grand, which I don't think anybody in Williamson County is making that while working in Williamson County. Now, somebody may be living in Williamson County and working in somewhere else, but they're essentially that's where we're headed. A few years, well, it was 5 years ago when I saw the video, and I think I posted it on here. Uh, that people making 150 grand in California are now homeless. You can't make a living on 150 grand. I wouldn't know what to do if I made 150 grand a year. I mean, that, you know, and let's say I knew uh, the taxes would be taken care of in some way. Maybe not my method, all right, my offers, but in some way, all right. But if, well, what's it, 11, yeah, $1,100. If my taxes go up that high, um, there would be no way I can make the taxes. There would be no possible way because once, at least with what I make a month now, if taxes reach $5,700, there's no way I can make that, and that's saving $470 a month. Well, why didn't you save more? Well, I'm only giving myself around $130 to live on for a month. Okay, and then there's uh, surprises. Oh, this needs fixed, that needs fixed. A medical incident. You know, so really saving $5,700 is not possible. I don't know of a year where something didn't break down that absolutely needed fixed, or some medical expense didn't happen. You know, so really, I don't even considering that I don't have $130 a month when it averages out. I mean, I'm sure this is going to be a feast by the time anybody watches this, but most of my diet consists of noodles and rice. You know, I mean, I don't go buy tobacco. I don't have a drinking problem, though I do have a beer, all right, every so often. Probably less than five a year. So, yeah, you saving that'll be what, $12 if that. You know, and because same commissioners, I don't think having a different judge is going to make a difference. It's just not. So in 2020, there is a good chance I'm not going to be able to make taxes. I will pay as much as I possibly can pay. You know, let's just make it simple numbers. If it's $4,000, and I have the most I could possibly pay, taking out a savings, taking out a checking, pocket change, only have, $3,900. Well, then I guess I'm paying $3,900, and whatever happens with the hundred, who knows? I don't, you know, I'm too weak to investigate. Okay, well, what if I don't pay? What will happen? You know. So next year, my taxes are probably going to be at least minimally $5,000. It's really going up a small percentage. You know. And I think what agitates me the most is that I've offered several times realistic ways to prevent from people being in my situation. It's not like, okay, I offer this, well, then you take care of my taxes. No, no, no. It's going to benefit all of Williamson County, not just me. In fact, it may not benefit me at all. And I guess California's having wildfires again. That is an entire year after I put boot and ass to get my new way of putting out fires out there. And I'm told, well, do it yourself. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't make taxes. Let me go spend that money in making this happen. You know? Because I'm pretty sure realistically, making a prototype, you know, well, let's say I had the machinery to do it. All right. I don't think it'll be less than $5,000. And that's if I could make every part myself or find something at a hardware store. Because really, prototyping, at least when I investigated, the average is 150 grand. I won't see that in a lifetime. And that's if I saved literally every penny. I really think that's what gets me. I've offered ways to avoid people being thrown to the streets like they have been in California. I was laughed at, I was scoffed, told I was being ignored. You know, I've been pretty much doing the same thing for over a year now. And I guess people aren't ready to dig themselves out of the fucking hole. It may have come from a movie, but I'm sure it's been said before. Anyway, it's, if you want to get yourself out of a hole, you got to first put down the shovel. And I guess the people aren't ready to put down the shovel. So, since it's the same people, um, I'm going to attempt to give the current judge, well, not the current judge, I guess Judge Gravel, a chance. He's not even in the seat yet. He won't be till sometime next year. And I understand things can't be changed overnight. Even so, some people are saying, oh, look, so and so won, and the next day things are exactly the same. It's like, dude, come on. You can't change things overnight. They're not even in power yet, the new people. Uh, you know, and I think it's Florida, but I forget her name, and I don't think she knows what planet she's on. I think her last name's like Ortiz or something. But that's just between you and me. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the November the 6th speech, and then November, what would it be, the 13th, the upcoming Tuesday's speech. And I think it's going to be my last time, at least for a few months. I'm not losing the will to continue or anything like that. It's that it's the same people, all right? They haven't even entertained the ideas for an entire year. They're not going to do it for the next 2-3 months. And so why am I going to waste the gas and continue to waste my efforts? So I'm going to read next week's speech, and if anything happens, I guess I'll try to show up and say something that'll be ineffectual, and then update here. So if this by chance catches on and somebody sees this video, I may periodically do the special thing, which it's the month or the year of the month and whatever special it is. Not, and then next month I'll just restart the numbers. But chances are that won't happen. But if it does, alright. Current elected officials give our taxes to construction companies, aid a billionaire whom don't care about Wilco, and put us on a silver platter to serve the machine. Instead of using that time to investigate the things that'll benefit us, it's wasted on concerning yourselves about my transportation. Thanks to Wilco elected officials, our future is paved with eggshells. And pushed many others and I toward the streets. You have to tread lightly and treat every day like it's your last in those seats. When unseated by this restructure, you'll be right next to us. Contemplate that when you want to hide behind statues that are being used as an excuse to talk behind the people's back. It's some statue that, if it could be damaging to the government, they don't have to talk about it in front of people, citizens, residents. And I think they hide behind that because they know it's damaging. And I find it cowardice that you're doing that. Coward. Every one of them, that hides behind those things. What is going on in a county that needs to be treated like a state secret? I can understand, fine. We're not going to talk about it right now. We will talk about it later. We're getting all the information. We're going to let our opinions coalesce. And then when we have everything in a way that makes sense, we're going to present it to the people. No. No. We're going to, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised at all if by the end of this November, really in the next 2 weeks, elected officials regret not taking me up on my offers, whose only accomplishment is zealously moving up our death sentence. All right, with some of the information I've seen, all right, economy, what was it, 51408 of Information Clearinghouse. The educated guess is this month things are going to get bad real quick. And the economy took another dive in the last couple days. Not a big one, but it took a dive. So, it's... when we arrive in 1984, eventually power will change hands. You may be complacent with the current establishment, but if you don't agree with the ones that follow, You're caught thinking otherwise. Look no further than 1940 Germany. Those who commit minor offenses will be turned into spies against their neighbors and friends. In case you're living in a bubble, the world doesn't like the U.S. and they won't come save us. Those pulling strings look down on elected officials and laugh at their inability to see beyond the moment and how elected officials delude themselves. Okay, I think I've talked about it before, but in case I haven't, alright, it's around 1940-ish in Nazi Germany. Well, I guess anywhere else they have influence. The example I was given was food rationing. All right, so it's a stamp for everything. So not only do you pay for it, but you have to give your stamp. And then if you can't present one or the other, but more or less the stamp, then you don't get that item. All right. Oh, jeez. So, well, when people died, what needed to happen was their stamp book needed to be turned in. Okay. And if the family of the surviving family didn't, they were paid a visit and told, well, two options: you can spy on your neighbors, or you can hand us a stamp or go to jail. Probably most of them said, all right, I'll spy on my neighbors. And I'm telling you, World War II was a test. As horrible and gruesome as it is, the war, World War II, well, like one was great. Um, it was a test to see how people would react. If it succeeded, then all great, great. Hey, World War II, whatever great goal it was, succeeded. But if it didn't, no big deal. We're just testing things out. All right, so on to the next speech. All right, these newcomers arriving almost en masse. When my family came here, we were told in no uncertain terms, conform or leave. We did. Now I'm one of two attempting to preserve our way of life that's being obliterated by politicians. That doesn't just apply to farms. I thought I could convince people to put the shovel down so we could start getting out of the hole. Obviously, they're not ready. I've also said you won't be in those seats forever. It goes a little deeper. The next step is for those newcomers in Wilco who don't care one bit about your positions, how long you've held them. They don't care that your dad or grandfather or whichever family did or is doing. I'm talking about the good old boy culture. It's probably too late to save it. Newcomers don't care your family has been in Texas or Wilco for generations. They have their own problems and agendas, and getting rid of the good old boys is their first step whether they know it or not. Just like the Danics almost 30 years ago. What they did is they owned the town, and because they brought in a whole bunch of new people, they didn't care, the newcomers, and now they don't own the town anymore. The kicker is it's these good old boys bringing on their own downfall. Don't overlook the fact that we need environment for food and air. Politicians need a good economy to collect a paycheck. And when politicians decide the area is too toxic for them to live in and run somewhere else, that area will be no different because Wilco is not a snowflake. Every other county and city in the U.S. is being raped by politicians there too. I understand nothing will change overnight. I'll wait and see if things will change. If not, it'll be a long 3.5 years for me in this courtroom. One last recommendation: take a picture of trees, grass, wildlife, and farmland. We continue on the same path we're on, we may very well have to describe it to our grand and great grandkids, for they will never see the real thing or know the significance and its beauty, nor how fresh air smelled, let alone clean water, provided we don't starve first. I leave this court for now, thanking all Woco politicians for driving me to the street and ruining our food supply with great zeal. I regret my time in the military because of Wilco elected officials. I shan't make that mistake twice. With a little luck, I'll find another way to earn my peace. And that's it. It's what more needs to be said. Just anyway. Thanks for watching.